There's Purdy in the gun. 3 receivers left. Kittle, Jennings, Debo from in to out. Ayuk is right. Purdy back. Time. Steps around from DeMarcus Lawrence. Throws for the end zone. Caught by George Kittle. Touchdown! San Francisco!
Boy, what a start. First drive for this offense.
They got CeeDee Lamb, the number 3 receiver inside. Now he goes in motion right, followed by Isaiah Oliver. 49ers are tipping man on 3rd and 2. Dak back. Plenty of time. Pumps. Now rolls left. Now he's going to get sacked by Fred Warner and Javon Kinlaw. He's getting the ball out of his hands quick against everybody but the Niners. He held the ball way too long. Here's an end around and a flea flicker. Back to Brock Purdy. Takes a shot down the sideline to George Kittle. Kittle all the way to the end zone. Touchdown!
What's going on? We got a lot to get to. We got the Raiders preview week, Niners in Vegas. Let's break it down. Whole bunch of injuries. Whole damn team injured. Stick around. Smash that like button. Let's get it popping. What's going on, 49er faithful? Your boy Breezie. We back in the building. Wayne Breezie show in full effects. Rex in effects. We are here. What's good, man? It's Friday. Know what I mean? Friday. Y'all know what Friday is? That means the weekend is here. The weekend is here. And we got 49ers football, preseason football. Let me make sure I make that preface. Preseason football is here. The Niners are in Vegas. Joint practice went very well. Sounds like it went in the favor of the San Francisco 49ers, but we'll break all that down. Again, shout out to everybody out there. Welcome to the Wayne Breezie Show. Make sure you guys hit that like button. Feel free to leave a comment. We got the live chat going on if you're on the YouTube feed, as well as Facebook, Twitch, and X. So feel free to leave your comments in the comment section. If you're watching this later, go ahead and drop a comment on whatever your favorite part of the show is. All right, so go ahead and do that. Don't forget to follow on all the social media sites, Twitch, X, Twitter, all them good things. All right, make sure you do that. And the exclusive content will be geared up for you on the Patreon. You can go to www.patreon.com/The Wayne Breezie. All right, now, most importantly, feel free to become a member of the Breezy Bunch crew because we're about to do our member shout-outs. Let's get this popping, baby. What's good? All right, let's see which members are in the building early this afternoon. I was going to say morning, but it is morning it's morning on the West Coast, right? Still morning on the West Coast. So want to show our West Coast faithful some love. Boats in the building. What's going on, Boats? Don't bother me in the building. Smash that like button, man. Subscribe, all that good stuff, man. 49ers throwback. Hit that like button and subscribe. Thank y'all for telling people to like. It's better when y'all telling people to like opposed to me telling people like, because they say I'm begging. I don't want to sound like I'm begging. Like, you know what I mean? Baby, I'm begging, baby. I'm begging, baby. Hey, 49er Jeff in the building. Happy Friday, my good people. Ty in the building. Wait, Ty, aren't you live right now? How you live? Isn't your show at 12 noon? Listen, whatever. Thanks for being here, bro. That's my man with the master plan behind all the clothing and the designs that you see for the Wayne Breezie and the Wayne Breezie Entertainment Network. That's Ty. He is in the building. Make sure you show him some love as well. Tanisha in the building says, good morning, Breezie and the Breezie Bunch. I see Snoop, cousin Snoop is in there. Marty Marr, does anybody have any healing water? Remember that old church song, Cooling Water? Cooling water. We need some healing water. I will say this. I put this on my Discord earlier today. If you're a part of my Discord, and I said, I don't think that these injuries, I didn't say these words, but this is what I meant. I don't think the injuries that we're seeing from the San Francisco 49ers are significant. I think Kyle Shanahan, and they're injuries. Don't get it twisted. They're injuries. But I think Kyle Shanahan is doing his due diligence to make sure that his team is as healthy as they can be come week 1 when they head to Seattle. So the injuries are real. The injuries are there. But you know what I mean? It is what it is. You know, Is today Friday? Is today not Friday? 12 p.m. Friday. Is today not Friday? Nah, my phone say Friday, August 15th. I don't know. I'm just making up stuff. Matthew in the building. What's up, Faith? I'll be missing the show. Thank you for tuning in anyway. Appreciate you. You know what I'm saying? Mike says we going 6-11 again. Oh, Lord, I got to have a conversation with Mike. You know, I got to have a conversation with Mike. Dre Area Sports in the building. What's going on over on X? Kenny, what's good, baby? It's good, man. It's good to see you guys in here. Members, non-members, appreciate that, man. Dre Area Sports, I appreciate that. Now, I'm not the best. I think we do good work together, though. I will say that. And you're great at what you do as well. But definitely appreciate you, man, for tuning in. But, yeah, you know, when you think about the injuries with the San Francisco 49ers, we got to look at them with a window of these guys aren't being placed on the IR. The significant players, the players that are probably going to 9 times out of 10 make an impact, right? Those players are not designated to the IR, so that's a good thing. That's a great thing. And they're just little knick-knack injuries, man. You know, little knick-knack injuries. Now, here's a question, right? And, you know, I didn't put it up here. I probably should have been a little bit more prepared, you know, with the typing and stuff like that. But here's a question. Do you think, I mean, I heard there was a story out there that the 49ers don't stretch like other teams. Now, back in the day, I used to play football, and we used to do the team stretching for probably like the first 10 minutes, maybe 15. Maybe I'm stretching it, maybe 15 minutes of practice. And we would stretch together as a team, you know. I hated it. But I understood its importance. And so I guess my question is simply, is the 49ers' health an impact from the lack of team stretching? That's a lot to type. You know, that's a lot to type. Let me see if I can put that in there. Is the 49ers' health due to, I'll say is the 49ers, are the 49ers injuries? I'll put it like that. Injuries due to the lack of team stretching. Now, I think as a professional, players are supposed to go out there and stretch. You know what I'm saying? Like they gotta be on point. They gotta stretch themselves. You know what I'm saying? They gotta be able to go out there and do their own diets. They're the professionals, right? So are the injuries due to the lack of teams? Because we're getting a lot of injuries, right? And so when I was gonna do the injury report, and then I was saying to myself, like, dang, there's a lot of players to talk about on this injury report. You know what I'm saying? And so this is gonna be the ticker for the 49ers injury report on today. The whole team. You know, mine is Brock Purdy. Maybe Christian McCaffrey, who's coming off of an injury. Trent Williams coming off of an injury. You know, I think it's so much, right? So going into the situations with these injuries to the San Francisco 49ers, I think it's a lot. It could be stretching. That could be a part. And I do know stretching helps. I'm 44 years old, and my body just doesn't move the way it used to move, right? And so I need to even I need to stretch. I hate it though. It's like time. It's like, who has time for stretching? You know what I'm saying? And so Dre Sports, didn't we hear that Nick Bosa overall stretches? Yes. Now, I think players overall do their stretching. I think the players overall do their stretching. I think they're responsible to stretch on the side or whatever. I haven't been to a practice, and not this year, and I don't know what it's like, but I did hear there's a little birdie out there that spoke about the team doesn't stretch like a team like other teams do. And I'm going back to my high school football days when there was the team stretching. You know how we would take up the whole football field as a team, and you'll have the captains and they'll be doing the whatever. They'll be leading the way, and you kind of just do your own stretching with the team. That's what I'm talking about. Now, I do feel like some of these injuries that we're dealing with could be a lack of that. It could be a lack of nutrition as far as you got a lot of what the NFL is producing now opposed to back in the day, and it just hit me on the head like the light bulb just said ding 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 ding. Do I have a ding ding? Like, yeah, players are still strong in the NFL, but what's the thing that sells the most in the NFL? Like, what sells a player the most? When we watch the NFL Combine, what is the number one thing that we're watching? Who can tell me that in the live chat? What's the number one thing that we are watching? What was the number one thing we're looking for? What's the number one event that we're watching? You know what I mean? And so, man, like speed. And so players are getting faster. So in order to get faster, players got to work out different. Players got to eat different. Players like lean. I don't know about science and body composition and all that crap. You know what I'm saying? Ain't my forte. It's not my forte. Right? The 40, right? And so I'm thinking that a lot of players are getting faster. You're seeing a lot of hamstring injuries. You're seeing a lot of calf injuries. Go figure. Like Jawan Jennings, calf injury, who did post some stuff on his Instagram, like getting the calf muscles rubbed out and stuff like that. You know what I mean? So just these little nagging injuries. Now the hammies, gotta be careful. Good thing, San Francisco 49ers got back Jacob Cowing to practice. And if you guys didn't watch the Madden, go watch the Madden sim. You will be disappointed. Now go watch it. I promise you. But Jacob Cowing had a hell of a game. And I hope he'll have a hell of a game in this preseason 2 matchup, which we'll get into against the Las Vegas Raiders. But I'm thinking, stretching could be an issue. Maybe the team needs to focus more on stretching together as well as doing individual stretches. I could be stretching this out. This could really be nothing. It's just something to pay attention to because the 49ers players that we're seeing being injured, especially those significant ones. We're going to pull up this depth chart because y'all can help me make sure that my depth chart, because the 49ers didn't release their second depth chart. So you guys are going to have to help me make sure that my depth chart is pretty much up to par. Now, everybody you see in red has been designated to the IR. Everybody in gray is on the PUP. All right. So the question is, are injuries due to a lack of team stretching? I do believe players stretch on their own. Ronnie says, are the strength and conditioning, they need to be adjusted. It could be a whole bunch of stuff that goes into this. You know what I mean? Strength and conditioning. And shout out to you guys out there. Boat says when you overbulk, it increases chance of muscle injuries. So when you're sitting there like lifting heavy and you're tearing those muscles, 9 times out of 10, you're going to get a torn pec, right? 9 times out of 10, you're going to get some type of a torn muscle because every time you lift weights, you're micro tearing your muscles. You know what I'm saying? Kylie, what's going on? So it could be a lot. It could be a lot of things that go into it, not just the stretching. But this is why more stretch. You can't overstretch, right? Like you can't overstretch. I don't think you can overstretch. I don't think you can overstretch. You can't overstretch, So we're going to see, like the Niners, I truly believe that Kyle Shanahan is getting his team well-equipped, kind of like how this season is going to end up panning out. Like, you know what I mean? Like, look, we're going to have some tough games on the road. We're going to have to be able to practice. We're going to have to be able to get through these little nagging injuries. We're going to have to find a way, you know what I'm saying, to get through it. Don't be crapping on my spreadsheet, dog. Don't listen. It's colorful. Don't be crapping on my spreadsheet. Now, I'll break down the key, you know what I'm saying? But listen, let me enjoy my colors. Remember that movie Colors? All right, so we'll come back to this question at some point in the show. We'll definitely talk about some of the key injuries, some of the players that have been designated. We'll get into that. But here's my depth chart. And the Reds are the IR. So we got wide receiver Trent Taylor, running back Amir Abdullah, wide receiver Equinemius St. Brown, quarterback Curtis Rourke, and now a season-ending IR offensive lineman Andre Dillard, who was just cleared from the PUP, which is interesting, but he's dealing with an ankle injury. And so, no, it's not a torn ACL. It's an ankle. whatever that, maybe he has a torn ankle. I don't know, but he's not playing this year. And it is what it is. So that's the offensive side. Defensive side, Taron Jackson, remember, he was the one that was injured, carted off the football field. And then Bradley Ane, the defensive end, he is now on the IR. Now, as far as the PUPs, you got Brandon Ayuk, Yetur Gross-Matos, and then Malik Mustafa. I'm not sure what's going on with Gross-Matos. It just seems like he's not really getting into, I don't know, maybe he's just not going to be healthy. I wouldn't be surprised if he's designated. We need him. I think we need him back. I mean, he's being paid. We need him back, in my opinion. So, I don't know. But those guys are going to probably 9 times out of 10 not be called up off of the PUP. Maybe Malik Mustafa, depending on how well we see the surgence of these other safeties. You know what I'm saying? So we'll see what happens. But, yeah, it's a colorful spreadsheet. So the oranges are all free agents that the Niners are brought in. So when you see an orange box, those are free agents. Okay? When you see, I got 2 different greens, but this green mainly is going to be for the rookies that our draft picks. So let me get those greens right. So Jordan Watkins, Junior Bergen, Jordan James, those are our draft picks. CJ West, Alfred Collins, Upton Stout, Marquis Siegel. Feel like I'm missing somebody. Connor Colby, I didn't mention his name. So those are our draft picks. Then our undrafted free agents are in the light blue color. Corey Kiner, Drew Moss offensively are the only 2 that I have from the undrafted guys. And then the defensive guys, Sebastian Valdez having a hell of a camp. Stone Blanton, hell of a camp. Jacob Robinson, undersized, but hell of a camp. Derek Canteen. And so the only undrafted offensive player that we have let go and waived was the wide receiver, Isaiah Nair. He's no longer here. So I believe he's with the Green Bay Packers. And so that's just something to pay attention to. But, yeah, so that's that color code. And then everybody that's in the regular white are just the people that were on this team. All right. And then when you see the yellows, those are players dealing with injuries. Now, I'm hoping that the San Francisco 49ers get back Sam Okwuonu and Evan Anderson this week. I'm hoping that they get back. Like, you know what I mean? Y'all going to leave me alone. Y'all going to leave me alone with these spreadsheets. Okay, I like the colors, man. Colors, you know what it does for me? It makes things pop, and it makes me stay attentive to the spreadsheet. Because if this was all white, I would just be like, blah, 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 right? Blah, blah, blah. Now, I'm trying to make sure I got the numbers updated. So if you see somebody and the number is incorrect, my bad. Here's what I'm thinking that the 49ers are going to be looking as far as their wide receivers that are going to play. Now, Kyle Shanahan did kind of state that he may be playing some of his starters this week, right? So he did say that he may be playing some of his starters. I believe he is. I believe he's going to play some of those guys that are going to be healthy. Here's a question that I have for you, Faithful, though. No Trent Williams, right? Do you want Brock Purdy to play in this game if Trent Williams doesn't play in this game? Let me know what you guys think in the comment section. No Trent Williams, and since there's no Trent Williams, do you trust Spencer Burford protecting the blind side of Brock Purdy? I know I asked that question differently, but it's really essentially the same thing. If there's no Trent, do you want Brock to play? I'm just curious. The first thing I got was no. You know what I'm saying? Yes. Thank you, Dre Area Sports. Got from Larry Kruger that Evan Anderson did return to practice. Now they probably didn't ramp him up full speed, but I think he's going to get an opportunity to play. He needs to. We got a nope. Don't bother me says nope. I saw the why, though. I didn't know the why. Maybe you were asking why. You didn't put a question mark, but I see the no. Ty, here we go. Yes, Spencer Burford had a good game last week. Let him get the reps. Right. If this was a real game, I'm all for it. But because it's a game that doesn't matter, I don't know if I'm all for it. It's like I want Brock to get the reps out there. But then who's going to be playing with Brock? Is Brock going to be playing with Christian McCaffrey? Is Brock going to be playing with George Kittle? I don't think those guys are going to play. Honestly. I don't think they are. Now, I do think Brock needs the reps too, because he needs to make sure he has the rapport with these wide receivers, the Junior Bergens, the Isaiah Hodgins, the Malik Turners. And I think I think Malik Turner makes this roster over Hodgins and Robbie Chosen. I'm keeping it in the buck because, well, you know what? That's what I used to think. We do have a new special teams coordinator in Brent Boyer, but Malik Turner is a hell of a gunner on special teams. And so I think he's going to make this roster over all those other veterans. Isaiah Hodgins, Robbie Chosen, maybe Russell Gage. Maybe. I don't know. We'll see what happens. Maybe. But I think if Malik Turner continues to be that gunner on special teams, they're gonna find room for him to be on this roster, the newly signed. But you said yes, and I like this. I like this a lot because I feel like I slightly agree with you, opposed to slightly disagreeing with you. Probably means the same thing. But I do like this because I do want Brock out there building a rapport with whomever those receivers are going to be. Listen, Brock's not going to have Brandon Ayuk. Brock may not have Juwan Jennings. I don't know what the hell is going on with that. But at the end of the day, Brock's going to have Demarcus Robinson. He should be your wide receiver X. And then Ricky Pearsall. Ricky Pearsall needs to play in this game. I need to see some Ricky Pearsall. Am I the only one who? And Ricky is slaying in these joint practices. They can't cover him. They can't cover Ricky Pearsall. They cannot. He is slaying the joint practices. He had good joint practices against Denver. He had better joint practice against the Raiders. But now I want to see it in a game setting. I do. I'm not going to lie. And I want to see it from Brock because I feel like Brock and Rick, they have that rapport. I need Brock and DeMarcus because I'm expecting Demarcus Robinson, who is going to be appealing the whole situation. But the NFL is moving like slow molasses tortoises, and I don't think the NFL is going to suspend him anytime soon. And so Demarcus Robinson is probably going to play at least for the first quarter of the season. And then the 49ers are probably going to get back Brandon Ayuk in that second quarter of the season, which you can allow DeMarcus to go serve his suspension. So I think Brock needs to go out there, and I think Kyle needs to play. But the question is, does Brock need to play? Should he play without Trent protecting that blind side? That makes it a little bit iffy. But I do like the surgence of Spencer Burford. Listen, many people don't remember, but at UTSA, where did Spencer Burford play? Oh, I know. He was a tackle. Which side did he play on? Oh, I know. On the left side. Where did the Niners draft Spencer Burford? Oh, wasn't it in the fifth round pick, if I'm not mistaken? And didn't he play left tackle? So they drafted a left tackle, and they forced him to play right guard. So he's going back to his natural side. I don't think the 49ers are going to have swing tackle. I think the 49ers' new standard is to have two tackles and a swing offensive lineman. Say it with me, swing offensive lineman. So whoever that's going to be. But I think Spencer Burford had a hell of a game, in my opinion. And I will say that the offensive line, although they gave up pressures, they didn't give up any of the sacks. Those sacks that were recorded were probably from the quarterbacks or blitzing. You send more defenders than you can block. I mean, 9 times out of 10. I mean, quarterbacks got to get rid of the ball. So no sacks were recorded per PFF. I do want to put that out there on the offensive line. Yes, pressures were given up, but no sacks were recorded. And so that's what I got from that. At the end of the day, I like Spencer Burford. I think he does need the reps, like you said. And the question is, does he get the reps with Brock? I think that's the question. Like, you don't want him to make a mistake. And I think a lot of us have seen him make mistakes. I'll leave it at that. But, and this is not practice. This is actual game, even though it doesn't count. You don't want to be the guy that made the mistake to get your quarterback hit a certain kind of way. But I do think Spencer Burford is definitely trending up, and I can't wait to see how he goes against this defensive front, because I think that the Broncos are going to play their starters defensively. I think the Niners might start more defensive players than they do offensive players in this game too, as well. All right. Now, I said I wanted to kind of, we can kind of talk a little bit about some of these injuries and some of the roster moves. So the Niners did sign a couple of new defensive ends. I wanted to talk about those guys real quick because I expect them to get tons of reps this week. Why? Because the Niners are trying to build depth. All right? They're trying to build depth. And looking at this depth chart, no Nick Bosa. Bosa was dealing with some type of an injury or whatnot, soreness, excuse me. Let me make sure I make that clear. I don't know what the injury is, but he was dealing with soreness. And so I call, bull, I don't think he's injured. I think he's sore for sure. I think everybody is. They've been practicing pretty hard, but he's not injured. And so that's great. I think this is what we call in the NBA, we call this load management, right? Load management. This is when you just got a veteran player. You're going to find time to give him off. Like, Trent Williams, CMC, Nick Bosa, Fred Warner. Hell, Fred could take the load management, but he won't. Fred won't. Fred wants to practice. He's just a practice guy. Like, he loves to practice. I mean, some people love to practice. Some people hate to practice. Fred's a guy that loves to practice. All right, so they signed a couple of defenses. Let's look at Damone Harris real quick. All right, so looking at him, he's 6'4", 272 pounds. He was drafted in 2018 by the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, or that was the year he was in the draft, excuse me. He might have went undrafted. So Tampa Bay Buccaneers picked him up. Now, just going back to looking at his last year stats, he finished overall with a 63-point grade, and I could care less about the grade. I want to know what he did, Only 2 total pressures. So we're bringing in the edge rusher that played in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 games and only got recorded 2 pressures. That's why I think he's going to play a hell of a snap. I think he's going to get a hell of a lot of snaps here in this particular game for the San Francisco 49ers because they want to see, can this guy help generate pressure? One thing I'm learning about Robert Saleh is his mantra is 2 things. One, his mantra is all gas, no brakes. But there are 2 things that I'm noticing about Robert Saleh. Number one, in game 1 against the Denver Broncos, and we probably noticed this all his whole career, but he's literally trying to keep the plays in front of him, right? He's not looking to get beat deep. He's trying to keep plays in front of him. If they're going to play off, but he's expecting his guys to use their speed to get to the guy, to diagnose the play, wrap, and tackle. We had 9 missed tackles last week. Robert Saleh is trying to keep everything in front of him. The only time the 49ers defense even gave up an explosive play is when they missed a tackle. But they still got to keep everything in front of them. He brought in Damone Harris. Damone Harris is signed. 0 sacks, 1 hurry. Like I said, 2 pressures. 2 pressures in all those games. That's all he got. Now, he had 5 tackles, 4 assisted, so a total of 9 tackles last year. 4 stops. He was targeted 3 times. That's good. He gave up 2 receptions. And then just looking at his career, going back to 2018, he's played with the Bucs. He's played with the Chiefs. He did 3 years with the Chiefs and 2 years with Houston, or 1.5 years with Houston, or 2.5 years with the Chiefs, however you want to look at that. And his last stint was with the Atlanta Falcons, all right? He was with the Atlanta Falcons, right outside linebacker. So he's an edge rusher. That's what they're going to use him for. And we'll see how it pans out. Let's see if he can put some good film on tape. I'll tell you my expectations for these guys in a second. Let's look up William Bradley, William Bradley King, to get a little insight on this young fella, which I'm not finding anything on PFF because I probably spelled his name wrong or something like that. Let's see, William Bradley. No player. All right, so we'll look him up elsewhere. All right, let's look up William Bradley King stats. Because the Niners got to figure out how to generate pressure. The second thing I was going to say about Robert Saleh, it looks like he's really only trying to rush 4. Yeah, we got the safety blitz, but that he feels that comes part of the territory. He's not going to draw up anything exotic right now. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you're not going to see anything exotic drawn up in these preseason games. He's not going to give that stuff away. But the Niners aren't able to get home with 4 guys. Not these 4 guys. Not these 4 guys. All right, we're talking about a guy that played in the NFL per Pro Football Reference, 2 years with the Washington Commanders, 2021, 2022. He played in a total of 4 games. Didn't start in any games. All right. He does have, at least he has a half a sack. I give him that. Seven combined tackles, 1 solo, 6 assisted, 1 quarterback hit, 4 in his career, but at least he has a half a sack. You know what I mean? So, all right, there's a little bit of pressure there. Because when you look at this game, and we're going to preview the game in a second, when you look at this game, you got to say to yourself, man, who the hell is going to be on the outside rushing? Now, I personally think Mykel Williams, he needs, if he's healthy, he's going to play. We do know C.J. West got the hyperextended knee, so I think he's going to sit out for a week, at least a week, to let that knee and the inflammation go down. But I think Mykel Williams should be good to go. Do we see some Bryce Huff? I know we're not going to see any Nick Bosa. Jonathan Garvin, has anybody, does anybody even know who he is? We've seen a lot of Jalen Allen. So expect Jalen Allen, Damone Harris, those guys on the edge, Sam Okuwanu, Robert Bill Jr., all right, William Bradley King. All those guys are going to get some reps. All those guys are going to get reps in this particular game. So I'm thinking Mykel needs to play in this game, period. End discussion. Like, he has to. We need to see what he's going to be able to do out there on the football field. You know what I mean? He needs the reps. And if he can go, he can go. All right? And that's how I look at it. So I actually have him starting on that side to where the right side, do I got him playing? Yeah. I was wondering where his name was. So Mykel Williams should be getting reps. If he's healthy, sign him up. Loved what I saw from Alfred Collins in the first game. These guys are going to be taking on double teams. I don't know what type of pressure y'all expecting to get from these guys up front, but it's more about them soaking up these doubles, like being able to get off of them so that these linebackers can play downhill. I keep saying I don't care about sacks from the interior guys, not this year. I care about that interior defensive front to limit these explosive plays up the middle, and I expect the edge rushers to limit the explosive plays on the outside. Ashton Jeanty, 9 times out of 10, is going to be playing in this game. He's a rookie. He needs the reps. He didn't do well in his first preseason matchup. I think he rushed for negative yards. The Niners don't need to be that team that's going to give this guy all those positive yards. We don't need to be that team. I don't want to be that team. Seattle didn't do it. The Niners don't need to be that team. Because I could tell you how everything will get spun if the Niners become the team that lets Ashton Jeanty have a field day in the limited minutes that he's probably going to play in this game. I really feel that way. I just don't want us to be that team. All right, let's go ahead and preview this game because, look, I don't know who's playing for the San Francisco 49ers. I can tell you that. I know the reserves, but I can't tell you if any of the starters are going to play. I assumed, and I know what we say about assuming, I assumed that this was the dress rehearsal game. I always thought in the dress rehearsal game, the starters would at least get a series or two. That's what I thought. That's what I assumed. There used to be 4 preseason games. In that third game used to be a dress rehearsal where the starters will come out and play the half. They got to get acclimated to real football. But it just seems like the 49ers starters are all injured. So I don't know what we're going to get. But, we'll see what happens. All right, so we're going into town. Raiders, 49ers. What are some of your thoughts out there? What are you guys looking for? Go ahead and post it in the chat. I'll give you could check out my keys to victory on the Bleacher Report. But I just feel like the Niners, something that they didn't do well in the first game, and I'll just review my keys. They didn't control the clock. The Niners did not control the clock. They did have the few turnovers. And so, you lose the turnover battle, you lose the game, but they didn't control the clock. And I think time of possession is going to be key, especially on the road. Hey, you got to pay attention to these keys that I'm talking about. On the road, time of possession is key. You want the ball, and you want long, sustained drives. That means the Niners got to figure out how to either insert this short passing game with Mac Jones or run the ball. Like 2 ways to keep the drives long and sustained. And not only do they need to sustain these drives, they got to finish these drives with touchdowns. They do. Even though I want to see Jake Moody. I need to see Jake Moody. We didn't get a chance to see Jake Moody. We saw him once last week, and that was on a PAT. I would like to see him get a couple of field goal attempts in this game, but I want the Niners to score touchdowns. Listen, the San Francisco 49ers against the Denver Broncos. Yo, they were 1 for 12. That's my second thing. So number one, they freaking gotta control the clock, right? They gotta control the clock, long sustainable drives, find a way to run the ball. Patrick Taylor looked good, at least on that touchdown drive that he had. He looked really good. I want to see more, though. I need more Patrick Taylor. Jordan James is back, I believe, as well. We might get a nice splash of some Jordan James. Also, Jeff Wilson Jr. is here. So the Niners got some running backs in the stable. Bobby Turner has got some running backs in the stable for sure. You know what I'm saying? Super chat contribution, because I just came to the screen and I just happened to see it. So let's go ahead and get to it. Thank you so much. Where's my money sound? Boom, 49ers throwback. Looking forward, shucky ducky, to Upton Stout, more of Sebastian Valdez, Devontae Adams already having flashbacks from Jimmy G's hospital balls yesterday at practice. I saw that and I laughed because they went straight to that receiver movie meme about that, and that took me out. That took me out. Let's talk about these two players, Upton Stout. Now, look, I don't know about you, but I'm loving what I got from Chase Lucas. I like when competition breeds competition. I love when iron sharpens iron. We've been hearing so much about this young pup, Upton Stout, who is by far been, he's been my pick since the draft. I kept saying this is the kid that we got to watch out for. Him and Connor Colby. Pay attention. Now, Upton Stout was dealing with the injury last week, and he didn't play. I don't think that's going to be the problem this week. I think Upton Stout's going to get out there. So that nickelback position is going to be something to pay attention to. You look at the Raiders depth chart, depending on who their receivers are. I want to see Upton Stout, especially if they line Jack back up in the slot. I want to see Upton Stout. Now at the Senior Bowl, I got a chance to see that. Like, Upton Stout was a problem. Jack Beck was a problem. If you go back and you check my X feed, you'll see me post Jack Beck. That's a tough son of a cookie. That kid catches everything, and he's tough. But he also got licked by a couple of players, right? He got licked by the kid from Georgia, Dan, forgot his last name. Got licked, Dan Jackson, got rocked. But he held on to the ball. So I want to see some of those matchups, man. I do like that. But Upton Stout, I think, is going to have a phenomenal game throwback. Thank you for the super chat. Sebastian Valdez, he has to continue to win. He has to continue to win his reps. I know he's not going to be out there against, the top offensive line. But if he's out there with the second string, he's got to continue to win these reps because he is an undrafted free agent, and, we're rooting for him. This is a kid. You root for these underdogs, especially when they show you that, they have what it takes to play in this league. Great player out of from Washington University. Has been having tremendous great practices from the San Francisco 49ers, and you got a chance to see how well he played in an actual game. And if he continues to stack these games, not just the days, but the games, man, it's going to be hard to walk away from a kid like Sebastian Valdez. So I appreciate that. Big Daddy Niners, what's going on? Breezy, have you seen your boy Mike going off about the Niners and the injuries? They're crazy. No, I didn't get a chance to see it. Mike told me he was going to do it. So we'll see what's going on. Mike is just, once Mike gets into the zone, he gets into his zone. You guys know what it is when it comes to Mike. I mean, injury. Listen, first of all, this is football, and injuries are injuries. We are not the only team dealing with injuries. I want to say this. I will say that we don't have any significant injuries minus the Andre Dillard. I think he's pissed off about the Andre Dillard situation because he really wanted to see Andre Dillard get some reps coming off the PUP, So that's what I'm thinking. Ty, I want to see Jalen Allen in an actual game. Hope he does well. All right, so you talk about Jalen Allen, defensive end, number 76, I believe. So, yeah, look, these guys are going to play. They're going to get a chance to prove that they belong on the San Francisco 49ers roster, and I'm loving it. I'm loving it. The question is, does Sebastian Valdez, Kalia Davis? All right, so let's talk about who replaces C.J. West, right? No Jordan Elliott due to the back. No C.J. West due to the hyperextended knee. No Kevin Givens due to the torn pec. All right, so we got Alfred Collins. Kalia Davis, I think, starts this game. I think you rotate in some Evan Anderson and some Sebastian Valdez, right? I think that's what you're going to do. And then I think Bruce Hector is still here. All right, so you're going to rotate these guys. That's your interior. There's no more. We have no other players on the interior. You won't have the same energy from C.J. West. I always thought Valdez was an outside guy, so we'll see what happens with him. So it's going to be interesting to see how this 49ers defensive front handle, you know what I'm saying, a situation with the Raiders. Because the one thing Pete Carroll is going to do, unless it's in a Super Bowl, is run the ball. You know? Super Bowl goal line. Like, he's not going to run the ball. Like, you know what I mean? So that's what I'm getting. So, you know, the Raiders are a bad organization just overall, but they're not. I don't think they have a bad team at all. Let me be the first to say I think the Raiders are going to be sneaky, secretly good this year. I do. This is a preseason game, but I think once the season starts, I think their coaching is upgraded. I think their play calling is going to be upgraded. I think they've gotten better defensively. I think they got some playmakers on the offensive side. I think Geno Smith is underrated, and I think he's going to come in here and probably show people he belongs, and that's why he is who he is. I think that their team is going to be a sneaky good team for the very first time since John Madden. I don't know. I can't remember when the Raiders were good, but I really do think that they're going to be sneaky good, and I think that they're going to bring it, and the Niners are going to have to find a way to dig and search for a victory without sacrificing the health of their players. You know what I'm saying? If I had to pick between winning the game or finishing the game healthy, give me healthy all day. This is not accounted for games. Game does not count. So give me my players healthy. So with the San Francisco 49ers, I mean, they got, you know, I think, and this is why I think we're seeing all these new signings, right? The Niners are like, bump that. You taking a seat, you're going to take a seat. You're not playing. Seat down, sit your ass down, take a seat, sign this guy, sign that guy, sign that guy, sign this guy, get that guy, that guy, that. And the Niners probably spent $10.50 on signing these players this week to play in this game. And if you think that they're done, we got one more week of preseason football against the Chargers. So we're not even done. You know, just the waiving of Michael Dwumfour. I mean, playing the game and got cut. He'll probably clear waivers and end right back up on this roster as a defensive lineman. You can see the Niners went edge here. So that's letting me know that no Nick Bosa, no Mykel Williams, no Bryce Huff. But I really think Mykel needs to play. I think he's only not going to play because of that injury, not because of anything else. I think because of the injury, he probably won't play. Let's flip the script on the offensive side. I think the offense with the San Francisco 49ers, they're going up against a tough defense. I think the Raiders have some really good depth on their defensive side of the football. Their secondary is pretty stout. They have pretty good linebackers, and their front is good, right? So even the rotation of those front guys are good. We're not just talking Max Crosby. They got a nice little rotation of guys. So second string guys are going to be not just as good, but they're going to be decent out there on the football field. I truly do believe that. So we got to be ready. The 49ers offense, which is my number 2 key, third down. The Niners were terrible against the Broncos on third down. The Niners were terrible against the Broncos on third down. The Niners were 1 for 12. Somebody do the math. That's like 8% conversion rate on third down. Somebody do it. Somebody do the math and tell me what 1 for 12 is. All I know is that's bad. That is terrible. That ain't cutting it. That is just wrong, man. That is wrong. The Niners can't go down that route. Third down has to be the money down. They got to find a new way of creating and converting third down conversions. Juwan Jennings is not playing. They got to figure out another way. And the Niners got to find a way to keep themselves out of these third and freaking long situations, which are almost impossible to convert. The Niners went 1 for 12 on third down. That is ridiculous. Then the defense, a little bit better. I think they were like 8 for 17 or something like that. Defense got to be better on getting off the daggone football field. You saw penalties extend plays. And I get it. But you don't want these. The reason why I'm bringing these things up is because we don't want the habit of the situation to become a bad habit. It's a habit right now, and we're playing with reserve players. I expect all the mistakes in the preseason, all of them, and I expect these mistakes from these young guys. So, young guys, you are not being criticized. Well, you are constructively. You're being criticized constructively, but I'm not holding you accountable for these mistakes. I just need you to learn from them. This is what this time is for, to learn from the mistakes. The least amount of mistakes you make, the quicker you learn from the mistakes, the more likely your chances are going to make this team. The Niners can't afford to be a mistake-ridden team. They can't afford to be that this year. From the offensive line, the penalties, defensive penalties, they just can't afford it. There are going to be too many close games to where the Niners got to figure out ways to sustain drives, and just mistakes and penalties, that will cause your coaches to go cuckoo for all the Cocoa Puffs. And the fans will go crazy too. So the Niners got to figure that out. But this is the time to make those mistakes, the missed tackles, the mistakes. So third down, the Niners got to figure out how to convert third downs. I don't know why we struggle on third down. I think it's because what we do on first down doesn't work. Then we get a penalty, and now it's first and long or second and long, and then the Niners are doing dumb stuff. Look, no. The one thing I do know is if Mac Jones is playing, he's looking to push the football down the field. Kid's got a pretty good cannon. He's looking to push the football down the field. You saw that pass. The only reason why the offense even opened up was because we couldn't run the ball well. But the reason why the offense opened up is because Mac pushed the envelope and pushed the ball down the football field, and you get the 50-yard bomb to Jordan Watkins, who is not playing in this game, by the way. But if I'm taking out a Jordan Watkins, but I'm gaining a Ricky Pearsall, that's a ding, 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 ding right there like that. Hey, so DeMarcus Robinson, Ricky Pearsall, those are my two receivers, right? And I want to see what Jacob Conway does as well. And then you start rotating some of these guys in. I need more from Junior Bergen. Junior Bergen ran some wrong routes last week. I would love to see Russell Gage play this week. Didn't play last week due to an injury. I don't expect all these injuries on the wide receiving side. Tight end wise, give me more Luke Farrell. I need to know what more he can do. I already know what Jake Tonjes can do. He's been here. I don't need to see Ross Dwelly, even though I need to see Ross Dwelly. Has anybody seen Ross Dwelly? I have not heard Ross Dwelly's name since the day he signed to the San Francisco 49ers. What's going on with Dwell? So the tight end position, no George Kittle, but I'm expecting these guys. And can we get Braden Willis, please, can we get him involved in the receiving game? I think that kid is a dynamic weapon in the receiving game. I understand that they're trying to get him to be a better blocker and all that good stuff. I get it. But but I think he is a dynamic, he could be, a dynamic weapon in the receiving game. Just got to use him right. From the running back perspective, we already know Christian McCaffrey don't need to take one snap out here. Isaac Orlando should be the guy up, but I think it's going to be Patrick Taylor again who's going to get the start. Now we're going to get some Keyshawn Johnson. My guy from last week was Corey Kiner. I thought Corey Kiner looked good. He rushed for almost 50 yards in that game, if I'm not mistaken. I think he rushed for 49 yards or 51 yards, whatever, off of 10 carries. I thought he looked good, even in the return game for special teams. I think Corey Kiner, Jordan James, Jeff Wilson Jr., I feel like this is the battle, right? For that running back 2 spot, Isaac Orlando versus Patrick Taylor Jr. For that running back 3 spot, Jordan James versus Keyshawn Vaughn. And if there is a running back 4 spot, it's going to be Corey Kiner versus Jeff Wilson Jr. I see what the Niners are doing. The Niners are doing some funky stuff out there. So Patrick Taylor, Jeff Wilson Jr., this would be his first game in a while. Keyshawn Vaughn, I think Keyshawn Vaughn might get released, though. Now that I think about it, come game day, he may get waived. It's just a game because you're going to have Jordan James, Corey Connor, Jeff Wilson Jr., Patrick Taylor. Watch one of these running backs get waived. I hope they don't. I don't wish any of that on any of these guys. Starting offensive line. Here we go. This is what everybody is here for, right? Starting offensive line. Sound the air horns. Wake the freak up, faithful. All right, here we go. Spencer Burford at left tackle. Spencer Burford at left tackle. Well earned, too. Well deserved. Now, Ben Bartch is not playing in this game. And Ben Bartch, I think, is a key cog to the 49ers offensive line. I really do. I think he's a key cog. He's a piece that's going to make this offensive line tick the right way. I always go back to the year where I liked Laken Tomlinson, but I didn't love him. But then when we got Trent, you fell in love with Laken Tomlinson. It's like his game just matured so quick. I think that's what Ben Bartch is going to do when he's healthy. But let's talk about who's probably going to start in the spot. Love Connor Colby. You know I'm a huge fan of Connor Colby. Connor Colby did finish with a pretty damn good grade, too, against the Denver Broncos out there. And I did want to put Connor Colby played. He had a 77.8 grade. He played 41 snaps. All right? 41 snaps at the right guard. I think Connor Colby's been taking left guard starting reps this week in practice. Connor Colby is probably going to be the starting left guard. So Connor Colby, the rookie, is going to get a chance to get out there to play against the ones. Let's see how that pans out. I kind of dig that. I can kind of dig it. You got some Connor Colby. I'm not sure what's going on with Nick Zakelj. But I think either Nick Zakelj is going to start at left guard and Connor Colby at right guard, because that's where he played last week. But I do love the surgence of Drew Moss. I think Drew Moss. I would love for the 49ers to start Spencer Burford, Connor Colby, Matt Hennessy. Actually, I want Drake Nugent to start. I'm gonna be honest. I think Drake Nugent is better than Matt Hennessy. I said it. That would be my dream starting the second offensive line. Spencer Burford, Connor Colby, Drake Nugent, Drew Moss, and Austin Pleasance. Pay attention to the Austin Pleasance and Isaiah Prince battle. Those guys are going to be battling for that backup right tackle spot. We're only keeping one. Those guys are going to battle for that spot. So the battle for the left tackle spot, I think Spencer Burford got that locked. Ben Bartch, because Andre Dillard got placed on the season-ending IR. So I think we know Spencer Burford is going to be the backup tackle to Trent Williams. Connor Colby, Nick Zakelj, at the guard spot, and we'll see how that pans out. We'll see how it pans out. I think Connor Colby makes this roster. I think it's going to be between Nick Zakelj and Drew Moss. Like, that's what it is. Like, the battles are going to continue to heat up. And then we'll end the show with this. I hope you guys are ready, because the Niners are going to play Mac Jones probably for the first half. And then we're going to get Carter Bradley. Now, I don't know if the Niners are going to bring back Tanner Mordecai. But right now, the quarterbacks are going to be Brock Purdy probably for a series, Mac Jones for the remainder of the first half, and then Carter Bradley in that second. Because I need more from Mac Jones. I like what I saw from Mac Jones, but I need more from Mac Jones, because I need to see how consistent he can be, how long he can sustain, that high level of play. Because I feel like once defenses start switching stuff up, I think it could get a little tricky. Carter Bradley just isn't it. I'm still scratching my head on how Carter Bradley is here, but I think I understand, because one of my favorite songs of all time. It's called Politics as Usual by Jay-Z. And if you listen to this song, you'll understand what be going down behind the scenes with certain things. All right, so Carter Bradley's here, but the Niners could potentially Carter Bradley is buns. Whoopsie. I mean, look, he just wasn't good. I mean, he looked like he was lost out there on the football field. He did. Again, he needs the reps. And this is why he's going to get the opportunity to get those reps. I think he's going to get a lot of playing time. And none of us going to tune into that third preseason game, right? Because it's going to be all Carter Bradley. He's going to play the whole game, right? So get ready to see what the Niners are going to do. Overall, it's going to be a good matchup. It's a battle of the Bay for old school heads, when they were out there in Oakland. The Battle of the Bay, right? Oakland, San Francisco, the Bay Area. This is the Battle of the Bay. Now they're in the Mandolin Bay area, so you can kind of still relate to it as the Battle of the Bay. I know people don't like it, but this is going to be a good game. You got two juggernaut head coaches, and get ready to see Pete Carroll chew gum 46 times, maybe 49 times. They're going to probably show him chewing that gum 49 times. I need a chew gum counter out there so that on Monday's show, I need a true gum counter out there. So on Monday's show, we can kind of recap because I'm going to forget. But let's see how many times Pete Carroll is going to chew the gum out there on the show. I got the 49ers. Give me a thumbs up if you think the 49ers are going to win. Give me a thumbs down if you think the 49ers are going to lose. Either way, it's all good. Not judging you, not judging your faith. That's not what I do. You could be free. Free your mind, and the rest will follow. We'll end the show on that. I do feel like the Niners can come out here and get this victory. They just got to find a way to stick to their guns, right? Like, I get you're going to be inserting these second-team guys and third-team guys and some fourth-string guys. But can these guys find a way? Will the plan be executed? When the plan is executed, I don't see how the Niners can lose. Kyle Shanahan, Clay Kubiak, Robert Saleh, they may have to amend the plan just a little bit. Not bend it, but amend it. Change it up, make it a little bit more simplified for some of those players to follow, all right? Make it simplified. Now, Snoop says 4 thumbs up. Steven says thumbs up. Rob D says thumbs down. Howdy says thumbs down. It's just preseason, and that's what I'm trying to say. These are preseason games. These don't count. I'm strictly here for the evaluation. I don't know about you. Let me know what you guys think. E Nice says it's going to be a dub. Hey, it is what it is. I'm hoping we win, and it is. I wouldn't be surprised. Here we go. I wouldn't be surprised if this game ended in a tie. Wouldn't be surprised. And there's no overtime in preseason football. Just to remind everybody, there's no overtime in preseason football. So I wouldn't be surprised. Guys, thank y'all so much for tuning into the show. Shout out to 49ers_throwback for his super chat contribution and being the top fan on today's show. Truly appreciate that. Thank you so much for your patronage and givings and all that good stuff. I appreciate it. Guys, I will be back Monday to recap what we witnessed on tomorrow. It's going to be fun. Just tune in, lock in, have fun. Most importantly, enjoy the time with your loved ones this weekend, man. Spend some special time with them. The summer's almost over. Fall is almost here. And Niners football is officially back. It's Breezy. We out. Enjoy your Friday. Peace.
What's up, faithful? Thanks for watching. Hit that like button. Don't forget to subscribe. And make sure you check out some of the other cool videos.